Well, assalamu alaikum and welcome back. It's now 19 minutes after 8 p.m. And what a great interview we had with obviously former Proteas bowler Garnet Kruger and the team from Southern Stars Cricket Club who are here in studio. And we had a very informative discussion. What a great chat I had with them. Now it's time for the Car Talk segment. Tonight we're talking about African motor space and a truly 100% South African, locally made South African motor vehicle. It's new, exciting, and there's so much of adventure that we need to talk about here in this regard. Now, tonight we feature Tatenda Munghofa, the co-founder of MUREZA, and I'm welcoming Pilari. Good evening to you both, and welcome to Salam Media.
Hi, good evening.
Safaraz, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you, Tatenda? Hi, Piladi. Great to have you both with us. Thanks for obviously taking the time. I'm going to start with Tatenga firstly, the co-founder of MUREZA, and obviously flying the African flag for the motor industry high, firstly. Talk to us about exactly who you are before we get into your whole concept and your company and business. Who is Tatenda Munghofa? Where do you hail from? And how did all of this happen?
Well, Tatenda Mungofa, I'm young car designer.
Okay.
I'm passionate about cars, so I'm a transportation designer. So from my young days, it's always been a passion. So I think it's a passion for every young African to see maybe something come from this continent, and that's the space where I come from. Yeah.
Awesome. I like that. And contributing to the space of the African motor industry, we've been through, the motor car shows at the Joburg Expos, etc., talking a couple of years back. And we've seen, all the cars from different continents from Japan and the countries from, countries in Asia, countries in, the North American cars, etc. But Africa, etc. Pilari, good evening to you. Talk to us about your involvement here with MUREZA and your entire concept here.
Hi, good evening. My name is Piladi and I'm from South Africa, from Mpumalanga province.
What a
and
nice
I'm
place.
the co-founder and head of business. Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
I'm
Now I
the
go
co-founder
often
and head of business development.
Now, you mentioned obviously being a co-founder and you're heading of sales, right? We want to talk about the motor vehicle itself, MUREZA. I want to talk about, obviously you're a new player in the African motor industry, Tatenga. You've designed this vehicle. Where do you draw your inspiration for this vehicle, firstly? What was the concept when you were designing the vehicle? What's your target here?
Well, the vehicle that we have released to the public in terms of images and a few specifications is called a Primate. The purpose of that vehicle is an entry-level vehicle. That's our market entry product. And it's based on the challenges that we have seen of the ordinary African people. So we have a very young population. They need access to good transportation, private transportation. So one of the challenges that you try to address when you're designing a product is what purpose is the vehicle for. So it's a basic runaround car for your average African citizen that is between the age ranges of 18 and 55. So that's potentially our target. Now, to speak in terms of what role does it play, it's supposed to help the economy move, because the people who are going to work are the ones who are literally moving the economy. So you need an efficient vehicle to be able to do that. And they also have a bit of a social life, so they need to look good whilst they do that. So that's the key factor for us when we design it.
Okay. Now it's great to see that obviously your purpose and your concept, your target is obviously, the 18 to 55-year-old category. I like the slogan, Untamed Motoring. And your aim is to solve transportation challenges in Africa by producing the best quality vehicle suited for African conditions. Now, Pilari, you mentioned you involved in obviously the sales and marketing of this perspective, right? Talk to me about how, the numbers have gone so far and what some of the challenges that you face as a newcomer to the motoring industry in Africa.
Yes.
Pilani, you with us there? We're not getting
All
any
right.
sound.
As you would have seen, not sure if you were brand launch last week Friday, but our first off taker of our a big, quite a substantial number for us
Okay.
cars, which
Pilani,
is
I'm just going to pause you for a moment. Your line is terrible. If you could just maybe move around a little bit, just so we could.
hello.
Yes, that's much better. Yes, that's much better. Okay. Okay, we seem to have lost Pilari there. Tatenga, I'm going to continue with you until we get Pilari back on the line. We do apologize for that glitch there. We're talking about, obviously, the African motor space. And I see we do have Pilari back on, although her mic is muted. We just need to get her to unmute her system. And we understand, obviously, with the weather and obviously the massive storm that's hitting us, there is a bit of a technical problem. Tatenga, we're talking about the African motor space. Some of the challenges that a newcomer to the motoring industry in Africa faces. Talk to me about some that you might have come across thus far.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. This automotive space in Africa, well, there might be a few other brands that have participated or are trying to make inroads in this space. However, we feel going back to your question where you said untamed motoring, I think that question was
Yes,
the
because
right.
I like the slogan. Very catchy. I like that.
So, Africa, there's a lot of tourism. People associate Africa with wild animals and all of that stuff. So, from our design department, we decided to give ourselves a theme that would identify with the continent itself. So the primate really is captured in essence from some of the animals we see on the continent that are unique. So every concept we develop as a vehicle has got its origin from an African animal or African inspired. It's inspired by something in Africa. So the untamedness of it is Africa is like a jungle when it comes to automotive industry. There's been no successful automotive brand to have come out of Africa, like you pointed out before. You always go to Joburg Auto Show, you see Japanese cars, you see European cars, but never really African cars. But not for the lack of effort, but because we just haven't hit our stride in terms of commercialization of those products or of those designs. So when we say untamed motoring, we are really looking at the jungle that is Africa. In terms of the industrialization, we are still very new as a continent. The motoring space in Africa is still very young. It's only recently we've decided to be conscious about what's happening. There's not even a lot of talk of electric vehicles. We are still excited about the car itself. So there's plenty of things that are missing in Africa, hence untamed. Now, when you talk of other brands that are trying to do it in Africa, we acknowledge that there have been others that have been before us, even here in South Africa. But some of them maybe are making replicas of cars that have been successful elsewhere, and they're trying to duplicate them here. Others are probably trying to create their own brands, but maybe they're not gaining traction beyond their own borders. So as MUREZA, we just want to say, as a flagship of the whole continent, there's 54 countries. We should be able to make a product in Africa, in South Africa, and be able to sell it in all 54 countries, and it should relate to everyone in Africa.
Now, I see we do have Pilari back on the line. And Pilari, I was talking to you about, you were mentioning sales and, heading that department. And Tatenda's mentioned, the African continent with 54 countries and how the market, the other competitors and players are trying to make inroads. Looking at your brochure, I do like the design of the MUREZA, the primate. I also see, obviously, the off-road variant that you are offering as well, the Tusker, the pickup bakkie range. I like the color, I like the theme. Now, to make an inroad into the South African market, firstly, Um, it's not just an easy thing to come up with a new brand, a new guys. Obviously, people are perhaps brand conscious. But let me talk to me about some of the, you know, challenges you facing and how is the South African market, how do you find the South African market, and what is going to be your vision venturing into Africa, as you do mention that by 2025 to be a leading manufacturer in Africa. I want to ask this perspective from a sales perspective because I come from a sales background myself. That's why I'm asking this to you.
I think the storm is hitting Piladi quite
Okay,
hard where
there
she
is
is.
definitely a massive thunderstorm that's hitting Pilari there. But anyway, Tatenda, it's great to have you on the line still. Now, looking at the Primate brochure, all right, looking at some of the features, obviously it's got a push button start, power steering, keyless entry. I'm talking navigation, touchscreen, Bluetooth, reverse camera, cruise control, multi-mode power drive seat, speed limit alarm, rear window defrost. Wow, this car's bagged with features. Talk to us about the pricing point, man. For this much, how much would we be paying? I mean, this has got so many features packed into one vehicle. What's the pricing point here in Rand
So
value?
I think all those specifications you listed that are on our car are really basic features nowadays.
Yes.
Modern features. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like transitioning from a phone that has got a keypad to a smartphone. It's a standard thing
Yeah.
nowadays. So
Yes.
those standard features are included in one of the models on our range. So base model would be starting at around 135,000 market price.
Okay.
And for you to get all those bells and whistles, you're looking at something around 196,000 rand. So we are
Hmm.
aiming to be an affordable, well packaged product in the market that is competitive. I don't know if you mentioned that it's got safety features like airbags and ABS, and
Well,
you know
there's
we
so
also
many
have
features. Yes, ABS, EBD, airbag, driver, passenger, the ESC, electronic stability control, tire pressure monitoring. Wow, this has got everything that a fully spec car nowadays would have. The specification on the engine, I see it's obviously a displacement of 1.5. Euro 4 upgradable to a Euro 5. That's on your emissions, pushing out the maximum horsepower of 87. Wow. Talk to us, man. I mean, the powertrain, and I like the rim, I must say, the 17-inch alloy wheel. I do like the funkiness. It's just bold. It's just so, it's appealing to a young man, I must say, and to myself. And it comes in about 6 different colors. Wow. The colors of the Rainbow Nation. Man, I like this so much. Talk to us about the power and the displacement on the vehicle. Okay, I see the thunderstorm obviously is really giving us a problem with our guests this evening. We're talking to Tatenda and Pilari, who are from MUREZA. Guys, go check out this website, MUREZA.co.za, MUREZA. And they have a pickup truck called the Tusker. Man, this thing is looking mean, I must say. I really like this. It looks appealing. There's the Primate MUREZA, which is coming soon to the country, and a new player in the African motoring industry, MUREZA. Obviously, they pride themselves. It's a black-owned car manufacturing company, designing and manufacturing cars in Africa for Africans as well. Tatenda, we're glad to have you back on. Obviously, the storm is obviously playing a major part. I was talking about, being a black-owned business. Talk to us about funding, right? And let's say people want to become a dealer. It's not just easy to invest into such a business. For you as a designer, your motivation when you approached investors, I'm sure you might have went to more than one or two people. How did all of this just come together? Okay, I am having a problem. We do have Tatenda who has lost contact with us, obviously due to the storm. We do apologize for that, but we are going to try and get them back on. And guys, go and check out MUREZA, MUREZA.co.za. A really fun and great initiative. Man, I'm telling you, this car looks amazing. They've even got a concept car 2020, a small SUV ideal for urban and off-road driving adventures. Anyway, having said that, it comes to 35 minutes after 8 p.m. We take a quick ad break and we'll be back after this. Right. It's 38 minutes after 8 p.m. and welcome back. Obviously, this is Salam Media and this is the Car Talk segment. I've been speaking to Peladi and Tenda. We were talking about the MUREZA motor vehicle. I'm speaking to Tatenda Mafunga, and we've been discussing the motor vehicle called the MUREZA. Tatenda, I don't see you on my camera. I'm hoping you can hear me or see me there, as I can't see them. But anyway, guys, we've been discussing the MUREZA motor vehicle. I must say it's a very nice looking vehicle coming soon. And also the Tusker, the Bucky, the pickup variant, which is going to be launching soon, I'm sure, as well. It's been great to host them as well. We were talking about, some of the challenges when it comes to finance and the funding and these kind of initiatives, etc. how it plays a role, and we were talking about the different variants. Anyway, we are wrapping up the segment, and I've got the kids here from the Southern Stars Cricket Club who are going to be joining me in a few moments. Yeah, ek praat met julle. Yeah, you guys. Anyway, they're going to be with me in studio for a minute or two. Anyway, stay tuned and keep it locked to Salam Media.